Americans in Vietnam was one part of it. Americans thought they would get into Vietnam, win overnight.
Well, we do hear that we have
UTSAHA
now joining us. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. UTSAHA. You must have heard what Bishop Kukah said yesterday at those two different events, basically knocking down the Buhari-led administration. If I can get correctly, he accused the president of clannishness. He says he's been divisive. What's your reaction to this?
Thank you for that question. I think His Lordship Bishop Kukah was very, very fair and measured in his statement. I think he was very fair with the Buhari government by giving them an insight into what is happening. He gave them a scorecard which was not biased, which had no political inclination, which had no religious undertone, was purely what is on ground. You know, I don't know, but there's this tendency to be detached from the reality of what a people face whenever a leader ascends the throne. And so he's detached completely from what is on ground. So I believe His Lordship Bishop Kukah only did the government a favor of telling them exactly how wrong they are misruling the country.
Andover, I want to ask you this very strongly. A man that was in the trenches, you know, that fought a lot for this country, a man that could have been killed in the military era because of his outspoken nature, said something that shocked a lot of Nigerians yesterday, that I'm not going to die for this country and nobody should die for this country. I mean, for a Martin Kukah to say that, what say you?
Every day it is a struggle, bringing fruits that could easily be plucked and then bragged about. We are basically left to either rot on the tree or fall down and waste. So it tells us a whole lot if a man like His Lordship Bishop Kukah should, unrestrained, but in a measured manner, relay all what he relayed, particularly in his sermon yesterday at the burial of Michael. It tells us a whole lot. There's a lot of work to be done. It's not a stroll in the park. You need to check how many Nigerians are running away from this country to other places to seek for even browner pastures. I don't want to call it greener, because you don't seemingly want to believe that there are pastures here. It's terrible, but at the same time, it's good because it's showing the leadership a mirror of the unfortunate situation that every other right-thinking person knows, but perhaps only those in the leadership position are unaware of. It's sad.
At the beginning of this interview, you did agree with the statement where they said the Buhari administration had not done the people of Nigeria justice. However, what say you to the thoughts that a religious leader like Father Kukah should be guided by the theory of national cohesion, security, and the love for our fatherland? He holds sway, and in saying this, he is carefully weakening the strength of Nigeria, how Nigerians, the confidence of Nigerians in the Buhari government. Is that, we don't need that right now. What do you think?
And I think it depends on the perspective you are looking at it. If you are looking at it from the Buhari perspective, like most presidential spokesmen would do, you would think he's doing the national fabric a disfavor. But if you look at it from the perspective of those in the receiving ends, those who cannot travel by road with their heart in one place from Kaduna to Abuja, those who even now are scared of using even the rail lines from Abuja to Kaduna, the remaining Peters and Stevens in the same seminary who would live with fear for the rest of their lives in that seminary, the people who actually masterminded, that is in the assumption that the president was not aware of the appointment of what makes his security management team, then if you look at it from that perspective, you understand that Kukah has done us a lot of favor. I do not believe that Mr. President is not aware of what is happening. But then I think there are fifth columnists who are creating a shield around him, perhaps allowed by him, to ensure that some of these criticisms do not get to him to take action. I am surprised I have not heard the presidential spokesman take a tongue lashing on His Lordship yet. But I mean, I listened to the one on the Northern Elders Forum. So we are living a life of deceit to such a point that when somebody tells us the truth, we feel as if he's overheating the polity. If we do not make the polity, if we do not put the polity on a pressure pot, it can never be overheated. For instance, I'll give you just an instance. Only a few days ago, the army released into circulation some repentant Boko Haram insurgents. The news yesterday and today is that about 1,004 of them are going to be released into the society again. But this is a society where the people who are suffering the brunt of the impact of the negative attitude of this same Boko Haram insurgents are living in IDP camps as if they are slaves. This is the same society where the soldiers who arrested them in the first instance are not living lives that are worthy of the lives of these people who are purported to have repented. The question is, how do you reorient a people who took into insurgency willingly in a record period of how many months, and release them back into society, and you expect any right-thinking society to think you are serious? Well, these are the challenges and the pains of people who are giving up on Nigeria.
And one can imagine, but Mr. Handover, Bishop Kukah also talked about, divisiveness, nepotism, and the clannishness of this administration. But I want to talk about our diversity, because he says President Buhari has not managed our diversity enough. Successive governments, have they really managed our diversity in Nigeria? And is this purely a leadership problem, or the people themselves? Very briefly, please.
The current government has refused to manage our diversity effectively. They have refused. They have refused because, just like Kukah mentioned there, it appears that what you require to be reckoned with or factored into position of authority in Nigeria is to carry an ethnic toga as well as a religious toga. And I like the way Kukah measured all of it. Kukah was really warning. He said the way and manner he goes about it is giving Islam a bad name. He did not say Islam is bad. He said the tendency is to give Islam a bad name. The tendency is also to give the Fulani ethnic group a bad name. But we have had some other Fulani leaders in this country that did not toe this line. We had Umaru Yaradua of blessed memories. We had Shehu Shagari of blessed memories. These were Fulani elders too, Fulani leaders. They did not toe this line. So, like Kukah warned, this government needs to be careful. Otherwise, it is annihilating the people, and it is the one that is causing the divides we are perceiving in the country today. That's the point. And we shouldn't shy away from the truth.
Well said. Thank you so much. That's a good place to leave it. Mr. Andover UTSAHA, a public affairs analyst, for being on the show this morning.